You know what? We're looking at a completely different type of stock today. This is something that we have not seen anything like on the channel yet. And tonight we are looking at Vsqtf stock, or Victory Square Technology stock. I think this is going to be an interesting episode just because of what the company does. I think at best, this may be a stock that you want to buy, and at worst, it must be a stock that you should at least keep your eye on. Because to be honest, looking at the pattern, the stock is actually on its way up at the moment. And I think with what the company is doing, with what the company's business model incorporates, it's definitely a potential success into the future. So I'm going to be walking over everything that you may want or need to know about the company before we do start talking about it. So let's just check how many subscribers we are on. I would appreciate it massively if you could subscribe, by the way. So let's have a quick look if we can. I think that we're on about 2.9. If we have a look towards the later figure of that 1,000. We are trying to get to, of course, 100,000, but we're taking small steps. Let's just work to 2,000 now. So if you guys could just like and subscribe, get us to 2,000 as soon as possible, it would be appreciated. And of course, come on, join us on Discord. Link to our Discord is down in that description. Right then, let's have a quick look into the pattern of the stock recently. So if we start off looking on the 6-month period, we can really see that the stock, basically, I'm guessing it came on the market here. I could be incorrect with that, but something did drive it up to the price of $0.66. From that point, unfortunately, it has been taking a small dip downwards all the way to about 32 cents. That was the lows that we saw earlier this year. This was about the 9th of November. And from those lows, however, it looks like we went even further down to about 32 cents. Again, perhaps a bit lower at 30. And then, you know what? Over the past few days, we've done a quick recovery and gone back up to 43. Why do I think this is, and do I think it will continue? In my opinion, I do think that this company does have potential, and I think that if we want to buy this one, it would be, in my opinion, one for the long term. And of course, I do say that a lot, but of course, we do look at two different types of stock on the channel. One is, the type of stock which is going to rocket up quickly, and then the other is the one for the more conservative investor who is happy to take a profit over a long period of time. So yeah, for that reason, this is one of my, ones which I'm looking at for a few years or so. I can definitely see it being worth a couple of dollars, if not more, in the next few years. So from what I can gauge, I do believe it is a Canadian company. If we want to have a quick look at what the company actually does, from what I can tell, I think that the company buys other companies and then grows them. So basically, they buy companies which they see potential in for the future. So obviously, we talk about growth companies which may be undervalued now. They grow those companies and then sell them on in the future. And I think that's a very, very clever model indeed, because of course it allows them to group together resources and finances and whatnot, and then grow each company individually. So I think it's definitely very safe to say that there are big growth opportunities with this company, simply due to the fact of what they do. They are like a parent company which guard over these smaller companies. Then they can either keep them or potentially even sell them on for a higher profit in the future, and all of the revenue that those companies make whilst under this company's ownership will go to this company. So you can see how this one's going to work. Is obviously operating in multiple sectors due to that, and operating in multiple sectors, in my opinion at least, I'm talking about the actual business model here because I think this is why the stock is going to grow significantly in the future. I think that operating in multiple business sectors is really a significant factor which is going to help growth into the future, because just think about it, okay? And I'm not saying that one of them is going to fail because I don't really know everything about the companies which they hold, but of the few companies that I can see, let's say that one is operating in, I'm not sure if it is or not, so please don't tell me in the comment section that I'm wrong. I'm just giving an example. Let's just say one of these is in, computing and technology, and then the other one might be in science, for example. We can imagine that whilst the computing one might be down, the science one might be up, and then another one might be up at the same time, another one might be down. So it kind of all levels out and just makes it a more successful model over time. Obviously, with the fact that these companies are orientated for the future and heading towards growth in the long term, I think this is definitely going to be an undervalued one right now, because just think about all of the companies which this one owns. If we have a quick look, we can look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 companies on the list, and of course they are expecting big growth for all of these in the next few years. Of course, I will potentially do an even deeper dive on each one of these companies in the future, but from what I can tell, this is one of these companies which is holding a lot of other brands, which generally speaking works well for a company. So hopefully in the future we will see the stock start to increase, maybe hit a few dollars, and then take a steady incline from there. But from where it is right now, I would definitely say it's undervalued. What we can have a look at whilst we are here is some of the revenue figures. Unfortunately, there are not any analysts having a quick look at the company, so we can't get a analyst buy rating, but I'm just going to give my opinions and whatnot. So here we have the total revenue for the year. Please do bear in mind, I know it is November, but it's not December yet, and quarter four earnings have not been announced, and a lot can actually change in a quarter, as you guys can imagine. So of course, the reason why it's down is because the year is not complete. But yeah, looking at this, we can see it's at 3,081 for 2020. For 2018, we are at 3,532. I believe that we are personally going to beat that revenue target again. I would like to see that, and I think it's definitely possible. So let's hope that can happen. If that will happen, I think it will have a positive a positive effect on the share price. Also, earnings per share are positive at 0.12 cents. That's a fact that I picked up earlier. So 12 cents for positive earnings, which is a good thing to see because it means that the company has kind of got its finances right. Moving back onto those finances in more detail, we can see that the cost of the revenue this time was at 2,502. So looking at that, that is actually slightly higher than 2019. Again, not necessarily a bad thing, but the year is not over yet. So the fourth quarter will really be the important one when it comes to looking at this company and the stock. So yeah, the gross profits for this year were actually significantly lower than that in 2019, almost half them, if not a bit higher. So we can see not really too great, but again, we just don't know how quarter four is going to go for the profit figures for this company. Nevertheless, we have to look on. Operating expenses were at 5,352, and that is actually reduced from the previous year. However, like I said, quarter four not out yet, so please do consider that. And operating income is actually slightly better than it was in the previous year, but again, quarter four will need to come in to get a full perspective on that. So yeah, it looks like the company's finances aren't doing too badly at all. Obviously, a lot of growth has happened for the companies which they own, or at least some of the companies which they look after in their quarter four potentially, or at least since their quarter three has come out, and we will definitely be seeing the growth reflecting in our quarter four results. So I really cannot wait until we do see them. But yeah, I am definitely watching this stock in my opinion, because I do believe it has a potential to reach, a few dollars in the next few years. What is my rating on this one? What style am I approaching it with? I would personally go with this one for the long term, and when I say that, I mean multiple years, maybe 7+ years. This will be one of the ones, and I say this quite a bit, but because it's so low value, I personally, and of course I am not a financial advisor, but I would stock up on a few of these shares and just hold them, put them in the back of the portfolio, don't look at them for a while, because I can see this one being one for a few years time. Because like I said, with disruptive growth companies, we have seen models like this before which operate on disruptive growth, like ARK Invest, for example. I mean, I know it's kind of different, but you know how that one works out, and it's kind of a very volatile industry, because sometimes you can get things wrong and companies might not grow as expected. But generally speaking, there are always going to be innovators in markets, and I think for that reason this stock does have huge potential to do well. So then, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Feel free to watch any of the other videos on the channel, and thank you for the support so far. Anyway, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye until then.